horse friends, welcome to the Imperfect Equestrian. Today we are having fun with circles.
You look so beautiful, and I'm so lucky to be yours. And you're taking me high. Ain't nobody like you. I'm not coming down. Ain't nobody like you. I could go 1,000 miles as long as I'm with you. Yeah, you're taking me high. Ain't nobody like you.
So today I'm in my round pen with JJ and we have her head collar and lead rope on. We're using a 12-foot one today, but I would say if you're going to try and start some circling, a minimum of 10-foot really to start with, and you can certainly go for a longer rope if you want to. Now you might say, what is the difference between circling and lunging? Well, to me, with circling, you can break a few more of the rules, and you'll be seeing what those are as we go along. So we're going to be talking about how do I circle, and we're going to be looking at also some fun ways we can circle, including adding some obstacles to make it more interesting. So let's get going with how we circle in the first place. So JJ just has her halter on. It's not a cavesson, so the connection is from underneath, but I'm sure you could do a lot of this with a cavesson if you wanted to as well. So to start with, I start with her in the middle with me, giving her some lovely praise, maybe give her a treat for being with me, because that's a good place to be. And I need to start by getting her away from me in the first place so that she can start circling. So I'm just going to ask her to back up away. Back, good girl. There we go. There we go, good girl. So just be patient with her, take some time till she understands. So now she's away from me, we can potentially send her on a circle. So I need to move her head away from me. So what I will do is take the lead rope and point in the direction I want her to go, and I'm going to use a little bit of pressure on the lead rope, and then I can also, if I need to, lift my stick and wave some pressure towards her nose and neck to turn her head. This is only if she won't turn away from me. So we'll see how she does. I'm going to send her around to the left first. Doesn't really matter which way you go. Come on, JJ. So I just lift, that's it. That was enough pressure for her. So she's walking off. And my first difference between the circling and the lunging is that I'm just going to stay in the same direction and ask her to go behind me. Now for safety, I'm passing the rope behind my back rather than over my head, although I am naughty sometimes, but there's obviously a greater risk of injury if you pass it over your head. If you pass it behind your back, then you're much safer if they do spook and pull away at the moment. So this is a basic circle. We'll talk about some transitions shortly, but this is how I do my basic circle. Now, there's nothing wrong with following her as she goes around, but what I don't want to do is continuously ask her to go forwards when she obviously knows what she's doing and she's going forward for me. So I'm giving her the responsibility of the circle. Sometimes I will choose to follow her if there's a specific reason for that, maybe to help her along if she's finding a particular gait difficult, but that's the only kind of time I need to do it. So it's a choice, rather than I have to do that. So when we finish with her circling and we want her back in, I move her back end away and she'll come towards me. So this way I just look at her bum. If I needed to, I could use a stick to add some pressure to bring her back in and she'll come towards me. So that's our basic circle. Let's move on to have a look at some things we can do. Obviously I've started with the lead rope, but we're going to move on to Liberty now. As you can see that JJ does know how to circle, and this is why we've decided to come into the round pen today rather than be in the paddock. So for Liberty, I'm looking at exactly the same thing really. I ask her to back away from me. Back, back, back. And because she's done it with the rope on before, she knows how to do that. And once she's backed out, I can ask her to go on my circle. I point, no pressure needed behind. She's going to be tempted by the grass today, so we'll see how she goes. But it's her responsibility to keep going round. So I'm trusting that she'll go behind me, and if she doesn't, I'll make corrections. So to start with, I'm just asking her to walk for me. She's doing a good job. Well done, JJ, keep going. And you'll notice I'm not continuously saying walk, 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 and I'm not clicking at her particularly, and I'm not waving my stick at her. I'm staying fairly neutral in the middle. I'm trying to look like I have a relaxed body position and just asking her to go around. So first of all, let's talk about change of direction. Should I want her to turn around, what I'll do is I'll ask her to come towards me, if she will. She mistook that for stop. So we'll go again. We're going to make mistakes when we're at liberty. When she comes around next time and she's flowing a bit more, I'll ask her to come towards me. We don't worry if there's a mistake, we just keep going. So let's try again when she comes around here. I usually give a signal by raising my finger. Obviously, if I had a rope, I would be using a rope. Draw her towards me and send her in the opposite direction by pointing. Good girl. She's got a little bit confused then, but it's okay. And now she's walking in the other direction. So if we want to change direction at any point, I draw the horse towards me and then I redirect her in a different direction. And obviously I've taught this from online first. Good girl. She's doing very well. So other than walk, we might want her to go a little bit faster. So we're going to have a look at a bit of transitions. When she comes round, I'll simply point to the direction I want to go, give a verbal signal, and if I need to, I can back up with the stick behind her. Again, I'll just step off my center point to do this. So here she comes. So she's not quite with it. Put a bit of pressure on. Behind. That's it. So I'm not aiming at her, else I might accidentally ask her to turn towards me. She's a bit lazy today because it's a lovely sunny day. Good girl. That's just habit. I shouldn't be clicking at her. So I trust that she'll continue. And now she's broken gait. So this is, oh, no, she knows. If she hadn't, I would have turned towards her and asked her to go again. Now she's got a lazy trot on. I'm not too worried about that today. It's okay. So we might ask her to change direction and trot the other way around, if she will. Come towards me, round and trot the other way. Returning back to my central point where I can relax. So she knows she's doing the right thing because I'm not doing anything in the middle at all. Now, should I want her to come back to the walk again, I simply put pressure in front of her nose and sigh. And that will ask for the walk again. And again, we can ask her to go trot again. So pressure in front, point, and pressure behind. Good girl. So I let her trot on round again so that she can settle. Sometimes it's best to let them do a lap or two once you've asked for something particular, because they can get stress from changing pace. Obviously, once they become more settled with it happening regularly, you can do it more often. And actually, lots of transitions in a row is very good for a horse. So when she comes around behind me, I'll ask her to walk again. And should I want her to stop, again, I would put pressure in front of her. So she's walking off because she feels a little bit tension. I'll ask her to walk on. We'll change direction and try it the other way. Come on. Good girl. So let her trot round a second. And as she comes up my other side, I'll ask her to walk again. Good girl, JJ. Good girl. See if she'll stop this way. So where she was finding that difficult, I step out in front of her energy. Now let's see if she'll back up. I apply pressure in front of her and give a verbal cue. Good girl. She found it a little difficult today, but she did okay. I'm going to give her a treat for that. Good girl. Trying to keep my energy low because she thought I was going to tell her to back up more. So the trick is getting back to the middle without them following you. Let's go off again. Good girl. And up we go again to the trot. Come on. Good girl. We're going to try a canter separately in a minute because she finds that quite difficult. I'm not sure she's up for it yet. We might try it later if not. It's quite a small circle for her to canter in. She prefers to canter on the bigger circle, so we might do it online later if she doesn't do it now. So what I'll do is I'll end our session for this session here and we'll bring her back in. So I simply apply pressure to her back end again and she'll come walking in towards me. Good girl. And give her a treat. She did really well then. Well done, JJ. So here's one variation we can do in a circle. Can we circle sideways? JJ is a little bit further away from me. If I apply pressure to her side, she should go sideways. And because we're on a circle, she may circle. Let's have a look. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Keep on. So that was one fun little thing we can do with a circle. Good girl. She came in a bit close, but we still got it. She's only just learning that one. So let's see if JJ can canter in our smaller circle. She's been working hard at it, and sometimes she can get a few paces in. I'm not really expecting her to do a full circle in this area at the moment. We are about 15 meters across on this circle. So at the minute, she's finding that too tight for her to work with. She is trying hard for me though, and she feels more comfortable in a larger area. About 20 meters she can manage a full circle of canter. And at the moment in the full circle of canter, I am following around a little bit to help her along. Let's have a go. Ready? Few strides, that's really good. Really pleased with that. Again, I'll let her trot around and see how she's doing. Oh, come on in. She's like, Mum, did I do good? Yes, darling, you did good. Okay. It's important sometimes when they want to come back to you, because that's what I want when she's at liberty, is for her always to want to look to me. So sometimes we say yes when they come back in. Not always, but sometimes we're like, yes, you can come back in when they choose it. And this time she'd just done a stressful thing and she came to look for me. So I'm glad she came. Good girl. Good girl. Nice lively step as she goes off that time. Hopefully she'll have some nice energy for cantering. Here we go. Ready? Very good, JJ. I'm actually going to bring her back in and treat her again for that. There we are. Oh, okay, you can have some grass if you want. Well, that was nearly a full lap of canter. That is amazing for JJ. Really good girl. So for our first variation, I've put out some markers around the circle on every other post. And what we're going to try and do is we can use those markers to do things like try and stay on the outside, try and stay on the inside. Maybe we can weave in and out of them, or choose to do a change of direction around them. So let's see what fun we can have with them. I popped her back online for a bit more precision. So, back out. Just back her out a bit. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. And ideally I want to get her past the first marker. Now because I'm asking her for a bit more precision, I may need to step out my circle and follow her a bit. Should have really put a longer rope on, but still we can work with this. So I think she's going a little bit fast for what I want. She's going on the outside. Let's try it on the inside of the circle now. Ooh, we're just crossing over a little bit. I want to come in a little bit more. There we go. Keep it. or she's confused because we're coming. See, it's something good for her to learn. Can she do a smaller circle? Not quite what I mean by being right by me, but we'll take it. Good girl. Now can you go out again to the outside the circle again? Very good. Very good. So this time I'm going to start asking her to come in and out. And what I should do is literally just use my body energy to draw her in and then push her out. Draw her in and push her out. Draw her in. So she's having to listen to my body energy now and push her out. So maybe we could just do one. So let's pick a marker, come on the inside of that one, push her out again, and then carry on around the normal circle. We could do variations like that just to make sure that she's really listening to us. Now what I can also do is kind of a change of direction around the marker. So if I pick a marker, in a second I can ask her to come towards me. See how I use my finger on the rope just like at Liberty, and push her nose back out before she gets to the next marker. Good girl. Let's just try and weave this way. I'm in the marker. Whoop, nearly out the marker. No one's looking for perfection. We're merely trying to build a bond between us where we can communicate things easier. So again, draw it in. In. Oh, nearly didn't make it. And out. Woo! Bit of a sharp turn there. So she finds it a little harder this way, harder to come in, and a bit more reactive going out. But it's smoothing off a bit now. There we are. So I also have to be aware of my own energy. Like, am I not putting on enough energy to bring her in? And am I putting on too much energy to send her back out again? It could be my fault. So that was good. Let's bring her back in. Well done, JJ. So now what we've done for a bit more enrichment and fun for her, rather than being on a boring circle all the time, is I've put out some poles and a little bit of a jump as well. Now she may knock the whole thing flying. It is more for fun than anything particularly athletic. And also I'm not very good on distancing, so we'll see how she gets over them today. We'll see. Right, I've swapped to my longer line now. Pick it back. Send her out, and I'll just send her on a slightly shorter circle to start with, just to get her going again. Now because I've got the obstacles, I am going to follow her now. Send her out a bit more now she's cleared of that one. A little bit faster. So she's trotting over the poles, doing very well there, keeping an eye on them, didn't knock them, that makes a change for her. Will she go for the jump? Oh, she says there's a big spooky jump in the way. Try again. Very good though. She may have stopped slightly, but she didn't completely avoid it. Cheating, going on the outside of the poles there. Let's see what she does this time. Yay, big jump. Keep her in shorter over the poles. Woo! And this time I shall change the direction. Keep her energy up if I can. Good girl. Back to my centre point. Oh, she broke the pole, never mind. See what she thinks of it this way. Big jump, yay. Good girl. Well done. So you can see how much energy this is putting her because it's all a bit different. Oops, doesn't matter. Good girl. Good girl. There we are. Yay! It's not as scary. She says no, it's on the floor. I don't have to put in as much effort. Good girl. Well done, JJ. So obviously I could have lots of poles going around the outside, or I could have quite a few jumps in, or one either side, or something like that. It's just another idea for variation. So we've moved into a larger area now, one of the paddocks, and you'll remember me saying that circling is a bit like lunging, but we're going to be breaking some of the rules. Well, you've already seen me breaking one rule by allowing her to go around me instead of following her as we go sometimes. And this is another rule we're going to be breaking. It's called traveling circles. So we don't need to stay in the middle. We can move and they can move with us. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Back, back. First of all, I send her off on a normal circle. Here she goes. And then I start walking in a straight line. And it's her job to keep going in a circle. There is a slight opportunity when she's behind me for her to get confused and want to come with me. Again, I'm just passing the rope behind me. This is a great way to have little walks with your horse. And then you can simply turn around and walk back again. So if you had a really big field, you could go for quite the little wander like this, and it'd be quite fun for you and your horse. It also helps them to learn to maintain gait better. See, that's how she can mistake it for following me. So let's just change it the other way and have another go. Whoop. Off we go again. Woo! We've even got a bit to cant again. Very good, JJ. She does find it easier on a larger area. And I'll turn around and head back towards you. And obviously I don't have to walk in a straight line, but this is a bit of an up and down paddock. So watch here, because this is where she got confused before, that she knows to keep going. That's it, a little bit of help there. And when I've finished, I can just stand still, let her circle like normal. Woo, bit enthusiastic there. And bring her back in, just like normal. Good girl. So that's one fun thing we can do with a circle that makes it completely different to a normal lunging circle. So there are a couple more things we can do. One is very similar to serpentines that you would do in an arena. And if you have a nervous horse, this is really good for a nervous horse, because following anything makes nervous horses braver. So if you had a scary object or something like that and they follow it, it makes them braver. So this is kind of like continuously turning almost half circles whilst following me. So what I do for that, let me send her off in a circle again. Off you go. Not sure if she'll do it or not first one, but we'll try. It's been a long time since she's done these. I allow her to go around in a circle, and for this one I will face backwards and I wave my stick out in front of her and ask her to change direction. And when she gets to the other side, I do the same again. Whoop, good girl. I'm not worried about speed at the minute. I could worry about that later. I'm just looking at the pattern at the moment. So she's crossing off in a series of serpentines in front of me. Good girl. Good girl. And we'll do some travelling circles to come back to you. So by me walking backwards and asking her for a change of direction, it can help build confidence. I'll do it towards you this way. So change the direction. Good girl. Change the direction again. Good girl. Ask her back in. So that's one way to help gain a horse's confidence, is to ask them continuously to do lots of loose circles and turns towards you. Don't forget that with horse psychology, every time a horse turns 180 degrees, it makes them rethink what's going on. Good girl. So lots of turns in there is lots of consideration for her. Normal lunging is very good for the body of the horse, but circling is very good for the mind. Another thing we can do is, it's almost the opposite of that, and it's to do changes of direction whilst walking towards them. And instead of getting a serpentine shape, they almost do a little spin circle and go off again. And this is very good for very dominant horses, because what's happening with this is they're having that 180-degree turn that makes them think again, just like with the unconfident one. So they're still getting that thought process, but because we're pushing their pressure, as in walking towards them, it's helping to kind of take one step above them, if you know what I mean, and direct them easier. So let's have a look at what that would look like. So I back her out. I'm going to send her in a circle. It's a good girl. Out a little bit more. So this time, as she comes around on our travelling circle, I wait till she starts to almost come past me, and then I ask for a turn of direction in front of me. So see, there's a much sharper turn on that. Same the other side. So it's not a serpentine shape anymore. It's a much tighter turn behind me. Again, blocking the passage, asking for a change of direction. Good girl. And one more. Good girl. Good girl. And we'll head back. So I'll do the same towards you so you can see how it looks towards you. Change in front of me. Good girl. Still send her off. Good girl. And this will actually quickly calm down quite a dominant horse. Good girl. One more. Turn one more time. Good girl. And I'll let her come back in. Woo. Go around, JJ. There we go. Well done, JJ. You'll notice as well that although I'm not the best at rope handling skills, it's usually easier to let the tail end drag on the floor as long as you watch where your legs are, rather than have it all gathered up, because it gets quite fiddly to keep swapping hands with your stick and your rope. So I usually just let it drag on the floor, and if they can stay further out on it, that's easier as well. Just for fun at the end, we try our canter circles again, but this time in a much larger area. And as you'll see, she finds it much easier to move faster in a bigger area, although I do have to follow her around because she's a bit fast. I should have had a longer rope on again, really. She did really well though. We will get this down to a smaller area in time. So I hope you've had some fun today watching. I know that circles can seem very boring, but as you can see, there are some ways that we can make it more interesting for the horse. So I hope you go off and have some fun and think of some interesting things to do with your horse. And if you can think of any more interesting circles that you've done, then let me know some ideas, and maybe me and JJ can try that as well. We'll see you again next time. Bye.